Good morning, students. So today I'm going to discuss about an important topics in both C and C++ programming, that is loops. So it is also known as iterative statements in C and C++. So what is loops? How loops works in C++? What are different categories of loops? So why we use? What are the advantages of loops? So how loops works? This type of discussions will be done in this class. So if we see the content of the class is loop statement, part of loop, types of loops, while loop, for loop, while loop, nested loops, jump statement exercise. In this way I cover my class. So first, what is loop statement? So the loop statement allow a set of instructions to be performed repeatedly until a certain condition is fulfilled. That means a set of instructions will be executed repeatedly until and unless it is satisfied some conditions. So that is why it is also known as iterative statement. So here if we see the here suppose this is the conditions. This is nothing but if else condition. Suppose if condition is true, then conditional code it is, and false, then control is goes to this. So this is the condition how it is the if and else condition actually. So for loop we go to next slide, and following is the general loop for a statement, and this is if condition satisfied, then true, if true, then the control of is executing in this part. If false, then it goes to this. So the part of a loop generally initialization expressions, that is initialize the loop variable in beginning of the loop. In the starting of the loop we initialize the variable. So this is initialization part. Next, test part, that is test expressions, which decides whether the loop will be executed or not. That means testing condition decides whether the loop will be executed more than that or not. So next is update expressions. So update expressions updates the value of the loop variables after every iterations of the loop. After executing the loop, then it is updated. If condition is true, then again it is executing loops and updated. So the body of the loop, that means which contains statement to be executed repeatedly. So this is the basic parts of the loop: initialization part, testing part, updating part, and body of the loop. Next, what are the different categories of loops? If we discuss here, we only discuss C++ programming language, which provides the following types of loops. First, while loop, which repeats a statement or a group of statements until a given condition is true. It tests the condition before executing the loop of the body. It is why it is also known as entry control loop, because before entry into the loop it tests the conditions. Okay. Next, for loop. So execute a sequence of statements multiple times and abbreviated the code and that manage the loop's variables. So it consists of three parts: initializations, updation, and initializations, testing, updation and updation, increment or decrement. So it is also entry control loop. For loop is also entry control loop because it tests the condition before entry into the loop. Next, do while loop. So like the same while statement, except it tests the condition at the end of the loop. Do while loop is different from for and while loop because it is exit control loop, because it at least one time is executed before testing, and after executing it tests at the end of the loop. That is why it is different from while and for loop, because while loop and for loop both are entry control loop, and do while is exit control loop. So nested loop means if one loop is inside another loop, so it is nested. It may be any for loop, do while loop. It is executed inside another loop. This nested of loops. Now if we go details while loop, the syntax of while statement, while is a keyword, so here we see while loop, repetition condition and statement. And loop repetition condition is the condition which controls the loop. Next statement is repeated as long as loop repetition condition is true. So and loop is also called an infinite loop if loop repetition condition is always true. Infinite loop means when it is always true, then it is repeatedly executing ultimately in infinite amount of time, so it is infinite loop. So this is about while loop. So next, here example we can see the conditions while I less than 5. This is the conditions. Then please input the number, say number 1, so total number equal to total plus num, cout end, and I plus plus, this is the end. So this is the counter, this is the updation. That is why, so condition is tested in the entry part of the loop. That is why while I is less than 5, then it is executed. So as an I plus plus means updation. When I becomes equal to 5 or greater than 5, then the loop will automatically stop. Then it condition become false, then it is come out from the loop. So logic of the while loop, if you see the condition is tested first, so control is come here, condition is tested. If true, then statement is executed repeatedly, and again condition is tested, evaluated. If true, and again it is executed. If condition is false, then it exits from the loop. This is the structure of the while loop. So while condition is tested, the entry part, if true, then statement is repeatedly executed as soon as it is condition is true, and if become false, then it is come out from the loop. So example is this: while z is less than equal to 0, and print z plus plus increment. So it is increment. So how it is work? We see z initially -5, so -5 is less than 0, so print z plus plus, so print z -5. So again z plus plus, when it becomes z become -4, again it is less than 0, so again print j, -4 is printed, again z plus plus, so it become -3. In this way, as soon as z is less than equal 0, the loop is executed. Finally we have print -5, -4, -3, -2, -1 and 0. So this is the output. And if we see the flowchart, starting the loop, z equal to -5, so condition is yes, it is, we see less than 0, so print z. So again incremented z plus plus. So again you see then z equal to -4, so z is less than 0, again z prints, and finally as soon as it becomes less than equal to 0, it is true, and that is why it is repeatedly executed. As soon as z becomes 0 or 1, after 0 it becomes 1, then it false, then stop. So this is how loop work. Now come to for loop. So a for loop, for statement has following syntax. In for loop we have three parts. So it is for, it is a keyword, so we give here initializations, semicolon conditions, and updation, that is increment or decrement. So initializations is executed once before the loop begins. So it is, and as it is entry control, so it initializations, initially we set the conditions, by initially we initialize the variables, then conditions. This statement is executed until condition become false. So when condition is true, it is actually executed, and when false, it is come out from the loop. And increment means updation or increment decrement. So and statements are inside the loops. So this is for initially I equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. Please input the numbers, number total plus equal to none. So this is the how for loop works. So initially 0, so number, please input the number, and when it is 0, so again now is added in the total, again I plus plus, so I become 1, so it is less than 5, again number is added, so again I plus plus, I equal to 2, the number is added, again I plus plus, I number 3 is less than 5, so again number is added, so again I plus plus 4 is less than 5, that is added. So and finally if I plus plus become 5, then it is, the condition is failed, so the control of loop is come out from the loop, and total is actually stop here, and we have found the total number of 5 number is added. So look, this is the logic for a for loop. I have first initializations, then after initializations condition is evaluated, so if it is true, then it is executed and increment. So again condition is evaluated, it is true, then statement is executed, again increment or updation. So until and unless it is, the condition is true, then it is the statements are repeatedly executed. When condition become false, then it comes out from the loop. So this is the structure of for loop. Example, this is so see, enter the numbers in number. So for initially I equal to 1, I less than 11, I plus plus. Look here, অপমান ৰস মই কৰি আছো, এই ক্লাছ কৰি আছো তাত। Then assume that enter the numbers in numbers, so from 1 to 11 it is actually multiplied. So if we enter the number is 3, then we have 3 into 1, 3 into 2 up to 3 into 10. So from initially 1 to, because 10 is less than 11, so it come after that the loop is execute, come out from the loop, we have this repeatedly execute. This is the example of for loop. So then for loop variations, so multiple initializations, updations, we can also do multiple initializations and updation in for loop. So a for loop may contain multiple initializations and or multiple updation expressions. These multiple expressions must be separated by commas. So for initializations we have two initializations separated by comma. Initially I equal to 1, sum equal to 0, and here again condition is I less than equal to n semicolon, and updation also here two parts, that is sum plus equal to I or I plus plus. In this way we can a for loop can contain multiple initializations and multiple updation expressions. So prefer prefix increment decrement over postfix when we use ln. So we see here for loops is always sometimes we increment prefix increment and sometimes postfix. The reason being that actually we prefer the prefix increment over postfix when to be used ln. So how we can see when we use ln, prefix operations are faster exit than postfix. That is why we use sometimes prefix updation or prefix increment, and sometimes we use postfix increment. So in general, prefix operators are faster than the postfix. So an infinite loop can be created by omitting the case expressions. So this, if condition is violating, then it becomes infinite loops. So for example, an infinite loop can also be created for is there is no condition, see out endless for the loop. In this way we have infinite loop. It is also example of infinite loop. J equal to 25, j minus minus, infinite loop. Empty loops. So if loops does not contain any statement, then loops become empty. Therefore if the loop, it is said to be empty loop. So there is nothing in the body, then it is empty loops. So if we put a semicolon after or parentheses, it repeats only for counting the control variables. And if we put a block of statement after such a loop, it is not a part of for loops. So this is how we have for loop. Initially this is another loop only, and for initially I equal to 0, I less than I plus plus. Here if we put semicolons, then what happens? If we put semicolon after first variable, it repeated only for counting the control variables. That means only counting is done. This is not the body of the loop. For loop is empty because it is ended here. So already it is ended here. So only counting is done. So loop is empty because it is ended. Now come to do while loop. The syntax of do while statement in C or C++ is do statement while condition. That means do the statements, do the block of executing the statements while condition is true or false. The statement is first executed. If the loop repetitions condition is true, then statement is repeated. Otherwise loop is exited. That is why it is exit control, because at the end of the loop the condition is tested. So at least once the do while loop will execute it before testing. Okay. So logic statement condition evaluated. If true, then again statement condition evaluated. If false, then it is out. So this is condition is tested at the end of the loop. The example this same. If we display the output from 1 to 10, so here void main initially I equal to 1, do cout I plus plus while I is less than 10. So I repeatedly print the value of 1 to 10 because I is less than equal to 10. So initially I from 1 to I plus plus. This is at the end of the loop it is tested. So nested loops consist of an outer loop with one or more inner loops. So this is the loop, outer loop, and this is inner loop. So when one loop is inside the loop, another loop, it is known as nested loop. So this is example of nested loops. For example, these are ij for I is 1, I less than 5, I plus plus, j less than 4, j1, j less than I, j plus plus. Here we have two loops. One is for taking I variables and another is for j variables. So these variables, these loops is inside the first loop, so it is nested loops. The jump statement. In some statement, the go-to statement, a go-to statement can transfer the program control anywhere in the program. So the target destination is marked by a label. So the target label and go-to must appear in the same statement. So the syntax of go-to statement is go-to label. This is label. This is go-to statement also sometimes used. So the break statement. The break statement enables a program to skip over a part of the code. So a break is a keyword. So this statement is used for a program to skip over a part of the code that which are not to be executed. So a break statement terminates the smallest enclosing while, do while, and for statements. So a break statement skip the rest of the loop and jump over to the statement following the loops. So how we have example, suppose initialize this is for loop. So statement 1, if hello become greater than the break, then we use the break. Then control is actually direct goes to statement 3 because after break they don't execute the later part of the statements. So this is how break is. This is for similarly while loop we can use break statements. So do while also we can have break statements. So the continue statements, the continue statement works somewhat like the break statement. For the for loop, continue pause the conditional test and increment portion of the loop to execute. For while and do while or while loops, program control passes the conditional states. So syntax, the syntax of continuation is continue. This is the keyword. It is a continue colon. So it is some MCQ we can have. So if the statement I plus plus is equivalent to this, I equal to I plus I equal to I plus 1, I equal to I minus 1, I minus 1, which one is correct? Because I plus plus means this B is correct, I equal to I plus 1. Similarly, what is wrong here? For initial k equal to 2, k less than 12, k plus plus. Then given should be always be k plus plus. The variable must always be letter I when the comma should be semicolon. Yes, here this is not semicolon, this should be comma. Should be. So while which looping process check the test function at the end of the loop? Do what? Because it is exit control under the same entry control. So which looping process base use on number of items is known. So for loop is best because if we know the iteration numbers, then for loop is best. A continuous statement cause execution to the skip the next iteration of the loop. This is. So I think I stopped here today. So we'll meet with a new topic in the next class. Thank you.